Hi, my name is Mandy. I'm a senior here at Frisco High School, and this year in ISM I'm studying veterinary medicine. I want to tell you guys a little bit about me first to start. I moved from Michigan to Texas in 6th grade, and one thing that's really important to me is spending time with my family because I don't get to see them very often. So the picture on the left is of my siblings and I. My sister is 27 and my brother's 29, so I'm definitely the baby of the family. And then the picture on the right is from senior night this year at the football game. I've been in the band all 4 years of high school. It's something that I absolutely love, and I play trombone. In the fall of next year, I plan to attend Mississippi State University, hopefully, and keep playing trombone and be in the maroon band. This is the other part of my family, my pets. The top picture is of my dog Kiara. She's a chocolate lab. She's awesome. The picture on the far left is of my cat Sai, casually sitting in my lunchbox. And then the picture in the middle is my cat Kuzi. And then the two pictures on the right, the top and the bottom, is of my cat George. We actually had to put him down last year because he had cancer. He's really my inspiration for everything. We've had him since we moved from Michigan. That leads directly into my quote, "Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened." And I really love this quote because, you know, my life was impacted for the better through George. And I feel like if you have a pet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you come home at the end of a long day and your dog gets excited to see you, like, that's a pretty good feeling. That's why I love veterinary medicine. My interviews. My first interview was actually with my family's vet, Dr. Larry Montz at Frisco Animal Hospital. He's really great. Something that he told me that all of my interview people told me was that you have to be very careful with your grades all 4 years of your undergrad, because if you're not careful, you'll have to apply to vet school multiple times. And Dr. Montz had to apply 3 times, which is a lot to get into vet school. So he just warned me, you know, be careful, keep your GPA out, study, and do your best with time management. That way, when you end up applying to vet school at the end of your 4 years, you'll be successful and get accepted. My second interview was with Dr. Lenz right here at Lazy Paw right across the street. She was really awesome. The reason why I enjoyed her interview was because she just graduated from vet school in May. She's fresh out of vet school. And another reason why I admire her is because she originally wanted to go to med school. And being a human doctor is definitely something that I've considered as well. I love people and animals, which is why I find the career of veterinary medicine so appealing. It's because it really is people-focused, as much as you would think, oh, it's just puppies and kittens. But no, you're communicating with owners all day long, which is what I really enjoy. My third interview was with Dr. Taylor Tillery at Animal Medical and Surgical Hospital. Something that I learned from Dr. Tillery was that it's really important to diversify yourself. He actually went to China for a month and he studied acupuncture. You're thinking acupuncture for animals, that sounds pretty weird, right? But it's actually something that they use in the clinic pretty regularly. He said like once a week. It's used as a therapy, especially for patients who have undergone surgery in stressful situations. It's actually quite therapeutic, and that's why they use it. And it definitely set him apart from other applicants when he got out of vet school in 2012, because he had something to offer that not a lot of people have. So that's definitely something that I learned from him. My fourth interview, was with Dr. Kent Julius at Legacy Veterinary Hospital. Right off the bat, I knew that Dr. Julius was just absolutely amazing. Something different about Dr. Julius that the rest of the vets didn't have was that he owned his own clinic. He's very successful. He has 4 other doctors working under him, and I've actually been on several mentor visits already, and it's amazing because I get to see what everyone is doing at the clinic. He also has an extensive amount of experience. He worked at the Fort Worth Zoo, and he told me all about that as well. He was just absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed our interview. And then my 5th interview was with Dr. Lindsay West at McKinney Animal Hospital, and she was awesome too. She gave me a lot of resources for further research, and she also has an interesting backstory. She was a history major for her undergrad, which seems pretty weird, but she told me that in high school, all throughout high school, her passion was U.S. history, and she didn't want to give it up. And that reminds me of my passion for music, because it's definitely something that I want to keep going with, not as a major, but just as something that I really enjoy, that I'm passionate about. And she was really excited about history, so she decided to do it for her undergrad. So it just goes to show that if there's something that you really enjoy that doesn't directly relate to your major or your career, you can still keep going with it as long as you manage your time well. I actually decided that I wanted Dr. Julius to be my mentor after the 4th interview, and he said yes, and I've gone on 4 or 5 mentor visits now, and I really, really enjoy it. Some of the research that I've done so far, it's kind of been all over the place. I've done something different every single article. The first thing that I researched was veterinary therapy and prosthetics. Therapy is definitely something that's more common than prosthetics will probably ever be. You guys have all probably seen pictures of dogs with the prosthetics, then they get their leg amputated and they only have 3 legs. And a lot of dogs do well on 3 legs, but prosthetics are something that can be used if necessary. The prosthetic industry is really strange because there's not really a viable market for it. It's not something that's very common, and it's not something that a lot of vets use. Usually dogs do well on 3 legs, so that's why I decided to not do any further research. I also researched bone marrow transplants, which is not common at all either. It's definitely something that research veterinarians pursue rather than everyday veterinarians that you take your pet to. What they do is they take out the old bone marrow and they take out all the cancerous cells, and then they do the transplant back in, and the dog is actually cured of cancer, which is really awesome because you don't hear a lot of times, oh hey, yeah, I cured this cancer, but it's actually possible. It's a really expensive procedure, and it's not something that's viable in everyday situations, but common lymphomas in bigger dogs are really common, and so they can cure it with the bone marrow transplants. The third thing that I researched, or the fourth thing, was vaccine-associated sarcomas. I originally thought for my original work that I wanted to do something cancer-related because of my cat George. So I decided to talk to Dr. Julius, and he suggested vaccine-associated sarcomas. What this means is that all the typical vaccines that your cat will get when you go to the clinic for regular checkups, there's a possibility that the vaccines that they give could cause cancer. The picture on the right is actually a very, very bad case of sarcoma. It actually only happens 1 in every 10,000 cats, which is kind of crazy, which is why they don't think that the vaccines actually do cause the cancer, because it doesn't happen very frequently at all. Dr. Julius said he's only seen it once in 10 years, so that just goes to show you how not common it is. The fifth thing that I researched was heartworm disease, and this is what I'm actually going to use for my original work. Heartworm disease, I'm sure all of you guys have heard something about it if you have a dog, if your dog's on heartworm preventative. But heartworm prevention is really, really important. It's the only way to ensure, or at least have a high probability, that your dog is not going to get heartworm disease. It's something that's transported from the mosquito to your dog, and the disease can take up to a year, 6 months to fully develop, so you're probably not even going to know that your dog has it until it's in the farther stages, and it's going to be harder to treat. They often don't show symptoms until later on, and it just becomes a very, very difficult process to solve. So what I'm going to do for my original work is create a brochure with all the information that me or you as an owner would want to know if my dog or cat was diagnosed with heartworm disease. It'll have everything from symptoms, prevention methods, treatment. Something that Dr. Julius actually told me was that if heartworm treatment is done properly, it can take a year and it can cost up to $1,000, which seems like a lot, and it is, because if it's done correctly, then the pet is going to be, you're going to ensure that your pet is going to be treated the right way, because if they're given injections too much at one time, the heartworms will break up into smaller parts and go into the arteries of the body and actually clog up the arteries and cause a whole new series of problems. So I just want to put that information into a brochure. That way Dr. Julius can distribute it to owners, and that way it'll actually be really helpful. Going forward, like I said, I've already had mentor visits, and I'm really excited. It's something that I've really been enjoying. Something that I really love about the career so far, and that I'm really excited about exploring more, is that every day is different. I've seen something different every time I've gone in there, and that's why I'm really excited to continue researching and to continue going in for the rest of the year. It's definitely something that I look forward to in the future, going to vet school. Thank you.